record. And just so Jarvis has this info, can you go ahead and say and spell your first and last name?
Yes, it's Rene, R-E-N-E, Boone, B-O-O-N-E.
Perfect. And your title?
I am the Sexual Assault Program Manager with Palm Beach County Victim Services.
Wonderful. And we're talking for a reason today, not a great reason. When it comes to cases like this, I mean, there are definitely multiple victims. I mean, is there anything parents should, be looking out for or anything like that?
Unfortunately, 80% of sexual assaults are committed by someone that the victim knows or has some kind of contact with. And in this case, it's someone, an authority figure within the school system. And parents just have to be open, talking to their children, asking those hard questions. Are you okay? Has anyone ever touched you or done anything that's made you feel uncomfortable? Monitoring social media and who they're contacting and speaking with on social media. Looking at those red flags if a coach, a teacher, or someone seems to be a little too involved, a little too concerned about your child. It's about communicating and paying attention. And that if your child does tell you that they feel uncomfortable or that they've been communicating with someone or that something has happened, not blaming them, not accusing them of anything, saying, well, we're going to talk to somebody about this situation. And also knowing that everyone in the state of Florida is a mandatory reporter. So you've got to reach out and report if someone's under 18 and they tell you that they were physically or sexually assaulted.
And someone this young, I mean, these were middle schoolers. How susceptible is that age?
Very. They can be influenced, especially by someone who is, their teacher, their coach, an authority figure, because you're always telling your children to, listen to your teachers, pay attention to the adults and your elders, and be respectful. And so they can be very easily influenced, especially when the perpetrator is also very young and they're looking at it almost, it flatters that young person that, oh, this teacher's paying special attention to me and they're making me feel special. And that's called grooming, and that's what they're doing on purpose. They, when someone's a perpetrator, they know the victim they're looking for, and they know how to groom these victims to go along with whatever they're wanting them to do.
Well, and I don't know if you've seen his mugshot. He's got these striking eyes. Do you think, physical appearance also plays a role in it?
It can at times, especially with the younger children, because they're probably thinking like, oh, he's so nice looking and he's paying attention to me and he wants me to be his girlfriend and he wants me to hang out with him. And, he could get high school girls, he could be with older girls, college girls, but he wants me. And it's almost like that's what they're looking for, to play on that sense of innocence, that they're not seeing those red flags, that this isn't appropriate or healthy.
And, I mean, reading through these probable cause statements, he messaged this girl, this newest document that we have, he messaged this girl on Instagram. Anytime she posted a selfie, he was like, oh, like, why are you so good looking? Like, next time you post something, you have to let me know, like, that kind of thing. Like, what kind of impact can that have on a kid?
There can be various impacts, especially once they find out that this person is getting charged with a crime and going to jail. They can start blaming themselves because in their world, wait a minute, we like each other, we're friends. And they can self-blame, which can then turn into depression. They can have eating disorders. They can start having sleep disorders. Post-traumatic stress disorder can develop, especially as the crime goes along, because they're going to have to go and talk to law enforcement and give a statement. And they're going to have to talk about intimate things that happened that can be very embarrassing for a young person to talk about. And as parents supporting their children, the best thing to do is not blame and not ask a lot of questions and be accusatory, to get the help and let the professionals like victim services, therapists talk to the kids. And as a parent, just let them know, I'm here for you, you did nothing wrong.
And when it comes to a relationship of sexual nature with authority figure, someone older than you, like are there signs, like could someone see something, like notice something in the behavior of maybe the child or something like that?
There's not always signs, but sometimes you might notice that your child seems a little less interactive with the family. They seem more secretive. Before, they might have left their phone laying around, and now it seems like they have their phone with them all the time. The bottom line is parents have got to be involved, and they've also really and truly, they have to monitor that social media and who they're communicating with. And, like asking those hard questions are, hey, are there any teachers that you communicate with on social media? Because they shouldn't be communicating with teachers on social media. And that the minute they say, oh, well, there's this, a couple of teachers who, or then letting the school know that that's happening. And, taking the phone, blocking these people, seeing what the messages are about, because outside of school, they shouldn't be on any student's social media communicating with them.
And I know we touched on this briefly. When it comes to, a teacher or an authority figure showing interest in someone so young, can we talk a little bit more on how susceptible they are? Why a relationship like this would continue?
At that age, you are just looking for friends and people to like you, and it's very important to you to be part of the popular crowd and to be liked and to be looked at as a popular person and, more mature than what you are. And when someone who's older pays attention to you like that, it makes you feel those things. And especially if they're telling you, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty, can you send me, pictures of you because I think you're so gorgeous. And it's just, making that young child's ego feel, oh, they really like me, this is important, and they're being influenced by someone who knows how to groom and influence them, because it's all part of the grooming process for the perpetrator.
And what is grooming?
Grooming is when perpetrators find a certain type of person and they hone in on, this person may not have a lot of friends, so I'm going to pay more attention to them. They may see that they eat lunch alone, or they may know that they come from a single parent home, so maybe their parents not paying as much attention because they're so busy, or there's multiple kids in the home. And so they'll start paying a little more attention. Maybe, hey, let's exchange phone numbers. I just want to make sure you're okay and check on you. They'll do social media accounts, exchange social media, and just slowly getting that person to trust them and feel comfortable with them, so then they can start making the moves for the sexual advances.
And this teacher had sex with a student, like a middle school student, a 12-year-old, he's 21. What kind of impact can that have on this girl?
Yeah, the main thing is her understanding that she didn't do anything wrong and that she's not to blame, and that the family, gets her some counseling and some therapy. She may have, certain symptoms related to post-traumatic stress disorder, but also with the appropriate therapy and services, she can understand what healthy relationships and boundaries are, that this doesn't ever, hopefully happen again.
So you were kind of saying like this could impact how she views future relationships.
It could, depending on how she, it could impact how she trusts, because of the fact that this was not only an authority figure, this was someone who's telling her, oh, we're going, we're in a relationship, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, this is okay to do. And now it's kind of like, what do I believe anymore? Because what did I do wrong that I didn't know that I let someone do this to me, when they're not understanding that you didn't let someone do this to you, you were taken advantage of by a perpetrator.
And reading this PC, you know, there's this moment where around the first time that they were going to have sex, he was trying to convince her, like, let's do it. She was like, no, I don't want to. And he eventually convinced her. I mean, that's a hard thing to hear.
Yeah. And it's not so much convinced as coerced. And when someone is that young and it's a teacher saying, do this, let's do this, it's okay, you're going to give in, especially because you don't probably even really know what sex entails and what sex is about. And you're just going along because you also, especially if they start saying things to make you think they're not going to like you, or that they're going to tell, you know, well, if you won't do this, then someone else will. And then you start feeling like, I'm going to lose this relationship and this friendship, and I want to, you know, I want this person to still pay attention and like me. So then you can't give consent, but you're just going along with whatever they're talking you into doing.
Well, and now at this point, it's been almost a month since his arrest. Do you think there could be more victims out there?
There probably are, because most perpetrators, this is, you know, they don't have one victim. Especially, he was very brazen doing this in the classroom, at school. I'm sure there are other victims, and I hope that they will come forward so that they can get the services and the assistance they need.
Is there anything you want people to know, or maybe any questions I didn't ask you, any important information that you think people need to hear?
Just the main thing is, you know, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the big thing for Sexual Assault Awareness Month is let's stop victim blaming, and let's start by believing and listening to victims. And even when someone says, you know, well, she went with him or he went with that person, they willingly had sex with them, understand that a child can't consent to willingly have sex. Just because you don't fight someone off from sexually assaulting you doesn't mean you're not a victim of sexual assault. You can freeze and just lay there and it all happens and you don't even know what's happening, especially middle school children. They don't know yet what sex is all about and what's really happening. And so we can't in any way blame them for anything that this perpetrator has done.
I mean, clearly he was, like you were saying, very brazen, like sex in school, on campus, dropping his pants in front of middle schoolers on campus, bringing middle schoolers to his classroom to kiss them. Like, that's not normal behavior.
No, he felt very comfortable in his atmosphere. So, and I think maybe he has done this many times throughout his life, and he's very good at grooming people. And he knew exactly the age to stay within that he's going to be able to convince them and coerce them into doing sexual acts with him.
Do you think there's anything that people around him could have noticed that, you know, might have helped people catch it sooner?
Not really. I mean, because unfortunately, anybody can be a sexual offender, and they come from all ages, all ethnicity, all backgrounds, financial backgrounds. So you can't look at someone and be like, oh, that person's a sex offender. And evidently this person is very charming and able to, talk, as they used to say, have a silver tongue, able to talk. So I'm sure even the people close to him in his life probably just thought, oh, he just really cares about helping kids and stuff.
Do you have any questions, Jarvis?
No, I'm good.
Any other details?
No.
Might not have covered?
No, I think that's good.
Perfect. That's all I got
Yeah.
for you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.